All right, welcome to Fanatics Football, the football segment of the Fantasy Fanatics Podcast. I'm your host once again, James, and I'm joined once again by Nate and Mete. What's up, guys?
So,
How's it going?
All right, in today's episode, we're just doing another recap, this time of week 5. Then we'll sort of talk about our pickups in fantasy football for the week, and then we'll once again preview this week's set of games. It's going to be week 6. So let's just hop right into the recap. We'll start with the Thursday night game. The LA Rams defeating the Seattle Seahawks 26-17. In this game, obviously, Russell Wilson goes out with an injury, but I mean, the Rams did play pretty well. Matthew Stafford, he threw for 365 passing yards and a passing touchdown with 1 interception. Darrell Henderson had 17 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. Sony Michel had 11 carries for 37 yards and a rushing touchdown. Then through the air, Robert Woods, his best game of the season, 12 catches and 150 receiving yards. Cooper Kupp, 7 catches for 92 yards. Deshaun Jackson's 1 catches for 68 yards, and Darrell Henderson had 1 catch for 17. Tyler Higbee had 2 catches for 14 yards and a touchdown. Mete, I'll get to you on the LA Rams. I guess what'd you like from this team?
Yeah, they played good offensively. Only 1 turnover from Stafford, threw for good yards. Henderson also, who made his return, he didn't show any rust. He had a pretty solid game, scored a touchdown, and yeah, I feel like their defense really came through at the end. This was actually a really winnable game for the Seahawks. They were down like 2 points, I think, and then Lockett slips, they get the interception, they score a touchdown, and it's game over. So yeah, I feel like if Lockett didn't slip, this game could have definitely had a different outcome.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Also at the end, pass directed to Lockett, I believe was intercepted as well. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I'll get to the Seattle stats here. Russell Wilson, when he was in, he threw for 152 yards and a passing touchdown. He also had 1 interception, like you talked about. Geno Smith, similar stats, 131 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Both of them played reasonably well. Obviously, Wilson was hurt for part of that. In terms of rushing, Alex Collins, 15 carries for 47 yards, not much else on the ground there. And then in terms of receiving, DK Metcalf, 5 catches for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he had a pretty big day. Tyler Lockett, 5 catches for 57 yards. And then DJ Dallas, 2 catches for 32 yards. And other than that, not too much to talk about through the air. Nate, I'll get to you on the Seahawks. I guess, what are your thoughts?
I guess I was kind of impressed with Geno Smith. He probably wasn't expecting to play this week, and I guess Russell Wilson got injured and he was the next man up, and he played like he was the next man up. So a really good job by Geno Smith.
Yeah, obviously, he didn't have much time to prepare, like you said. Obviously, heading into next week's game, he should be a bit better prepared. I guess we'll have to see how the Seahawks look going forward. Getting to the next game, I believe it was played in England. You have the Atlanta Falcons beating the New York Jets 27-20. I'll start with the Falcons here. Just looking at some of the stats, really solid for Matt Ryan, 342 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Getting to rushing, Cordero Patterson, 14 carries for 54 yards. Mike Davis, 13 carries for 53 yards and a rushing touchdown. And then through the air, Kyle Pitts, 9 catches, 119 yards and a touchdown. So I think career game for him. Cordero Patterson, 7 catches for 60 yards. Tajay Sharp, 4 catches for 53 yards. And then Hayden Hurst, 4 catches for 40 yards and a receiving touchdown. Nate, I'll get to you on the Falcons. This is probably one of the better games they've played this season.
Yeah, it looked like I guess they were playing I guess closer to their potential as one of the better, I guess, offenses in the league. Really good job by Matt Ryan and pretty much the receivers as well. The only questions I have is that this was against the Jets, for one of the weaker teams in the league at the moment. So, I mean, I guess I'd like to see them, I guess, play like this against stronger teams.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The Jets didn't look too good. Also, Zach Wilson, he had no passing touchdowns in this game. He only had 192 yards and he threw an interception. Really tough again for him. Michael Carter on the ground, 10 carries, 38 yards and a touchdown. Ty Johnson, 4 carries for 12 yards and a touchdown. And then through the air, just really not much here. Corey Davis, 4 catches for 45 yards. Keelan Cole, 2 catches for 38 yards. Denzel Mims, 2 catches for 33 yards. And Jamison Crowder, 4 catches for 24 yards. Mete, just getting two on the Jets. Yeah, they just really didn't look good here.
Yeah, they were only able to score 2 touchdowns, and I don't know, Zach Wilson, he's having a tough time right now adjusting to the NFL. He hasn't really had a breakout game yet, I'd say. So yeah, it looks like he's just gonna have to get settled in, and it's just going as expected for the Jets. A lot of people weren't expecting too much from them this season, so
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of a team that people really weren't expecting much from, the Detroit Lions have fallen to 0-5 now. They lose to the Minnesota Vikings 19-17. A game-winning field goal gets it done from Greg Joseph. Just looking at the stats for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, 275 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. I guess on the ground here, Alex Madison, 25 carries for 113 rushing yards. So big day for him. And then getting to the receiving, Justin Jefferson, 7 catches for 124 receiving yards. Adam Thielen, 2 catches for 40 yards. Alex Madison also adds 7 catches for 40 yards and a receiving touchdown, while Ty Conklin adds 2 catches for 25 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on the Vikings here. This was a closer game than we expected, but yeah, the Vikings do get it done here.
yeah, this was a crazy game as poor Lions, man. They just keep getting their heart broken last second on field goals. And it happened again as they were ahead with, I think, under a minute left. And then the Vikings were able to get into field goal range. They were only down uh, 2, I believe. So yeah, last second field goal. Vikings win and another heartbreaking loss for the Lions.
Yeah, I definitely feel for the Lions here. Of course, their coach Dan Campbell is pretty emotional when talking about this team, how they've lost a lot of close games. Obviously, the talent level isn't there compared to some of the other teams they face, but he says they seem to be putting in a good effort. I know Jared Goff here, he had 203 passing yards and he threw an interception. In terms of rushing, both backs have been really good. Jamal Williams, 13 carries for 57 yards, and DeAndre Swift, 11 carries for 51 yards and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 catches for 65 yards. DeAndre Swift, 6 catches for 53 yards. Quintus Cephas, 3 catches for 38 yards. I believe he was injured in this game. And then TJ Hawkinson, 2 catches for 22 yards. Nate, I guess in terms of this overall offense, they just really haven't been able to put up a lot of points.
Yeah, I feel like they try to, I guess, rely on a lot of defense and a lot of effort to try to slow down the other team enough so that they can kind of stay in the game, if that makes sense. And it does seem to be working for the most part. I mean, they ended up slowing down the Vikings, which I think is really impressive considering how good their offense is. They have one of the best, I guess, running backs in the league in Dalvin Cook. And Kirk Cousins was pretty much lighting every team up until, I guess, the past couple of weeks. So, I mean, it's another loss, which is a little bit disappointing, but I don't think this is one of their worst games.
Yeah, well, I mean, it even benefited them that Cook didn't play because I know Madison did go off against this team, but yeah, I feel like it could have been a lot worse in terms of the score. I think they did do a good job playing some defense, but yeah, they definitely need to get a win at some point here. Hopefully that happens for them. And then moving on to the next game, we have the New Orleans Saints beating the Washington football team 33-22. Getting to the stats here for the New Orleans Saints, we have Jameis Winston, 279 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and an interception. So he had a good day overall. And then Alvin Kamara, 16 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. Kamara also added 5 catches through the air, 51 yards and a receiving touchdown. So big day for him. Marquez Callaway, 4 catches, 85 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Another big game for another one of their big players. Deontay Harris, his 1 catch was for 72 yards and it was a touchdown. So very impressive from him. And then Adam Trotman, 2 catches for 43 yards. Nate, getting to you on the Saints. This team's been pretty up and down all year, but they got a big win here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good job against Washington. The only thing is Washington isn't like the defensive team that they are this year. So again, this is a really good job by Jameis Winston, really good job by Alvin Kamara and everyone else. It's just that I kind of want to see them do this against stronger teams as well.
Yeah, for sure. I know Washington has been kind of a disappointment. But yeah, like you said, Saints got to really do it against stronger teams. Getting to Washington now, Taylor Heineke, 248 passing yards, 2 interceptions. It was probably his worst game of the season. He did have 5 carries for 40 yards on the ground, so not too bad there. Antonio Gibson, 20 carries, 60 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns, so very good from him. And then looking at the receiving, Adam Humphries, 3 catches for 73 yards. DeAndre Carter, 4 catches for 62 yards. Terry McLaurin, 4 catches for 46 yards. Ricky Seals-Jones, 5 catches, 41 yards. And Antonio Gibson had 2 catches for 12 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on Washington. I guess what's been the deal with this team this season?
The main thing for them is the defense hasn't been as good. And yeah, I think Heineke, like you said, he has his worst game of the season, but he's been playing really well, I think. He's only going to get better as this is the first time he's actually become a full-time starter. So yeah, I think if the defense can play better, they will definitely start picking up more wins.
Yeah, that's been the one thing about this team. Like you said, defense was always their strength, but it seems to be their weakness this season. Their offense had to keep up a lot of games. So definitely hope for a bounce back here at some point from them. Getting to the next game, a game that I was really keeping a close eye on here, the New England Patriots beating the Houston Texans by a score of 25-22. There's a big deficit here. The Patriots come back and they end up winning. Just looking at the stats here, Mac Jones, 231 passing yards and a passing touchdown. He also had an interception. Damian Harris, 14 carries, 58 yards and a touchdown. And that was pretty much it on the ground. Not too much from anyone else. And through the air, Hunter Henry, 6 catches. I believe it's for 75 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby Myers, 4 catches for 56 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 3 catches for 32 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on the Patriots. Another close game from them. I guess this time they got the win. What do you think about this team?
Yeah, definitely. Really close game. They win last minute basically. And yeah, I thought this would be a comfortable game for them as the Texans without Tyrod Taylor, they haven't been that great. And then I think Belichick has this crazy record, something like being undefeated against rookie quarterbacks. And with the way Davis Mills was playing heading into this game, he was really struggling. So I thought it would just be another game where he struggles as the Patriots. They're one of the better defenses in the league, or they should be. So yeah, Mills has a great game and keeps it really close. But the Patriots in the second half, they do a great job of coming back in this game.
Yeah, just watching this game, it looks like the Texans had the momentum pretty much the whole first half. I believe it was like 22-9 or something. And then second half, Patriots get a crazy special teams play. They block a punt. The whole game turns around. They score on all unanswered points, and they end up winning on a kick. They could have won on a kick last game. Obviously, we know what happened in hitting off the bar. But this time, Folk puts it through and gets it done for the Patriots. I mean, like you said, Davis Mills didn't play too bad. He had 312 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. So actually a pretty good day from him. Mark Ingram on the ground, 16 carries for 41 yards. And then through the air, Chris Moore had 5 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. Chris Conley, 3 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. David Johnson, 5 catches for 46 yards. And Brandon Cooks, 3 catches for 23 yards. Anthony Auclair had his 1 catch go for 11 yards and a touchdown. Nate, I'll get to you on the Texans. This is one of the better games they've played without Tyrod Taylor, but I mean, I guess they're still very unmatched against every team they play.
Yeah, I think this is one of the, I guess, better games that they've played in a few weeks. And I guess one of the good points is we've been saying that we wanted Davis Mills to kind of step up and try to facilitate the offense kind of close to the way Tyrod Taylor did. And I think he did a really good job of kind of stepping up to the plate this time. And it was a really close game. And I feel like if he keeps having games like this, there might be possibility of a couple of upsets.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely getting a little bit more comfortable from the looks of it with the NFL style game. And yeah, like you said, I think he'll keep improving. We'll definitely have to see how he does this coming week. Getting to the next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeating the Miami Dolphins 45-17. This was a great game for the Bucs after a tight one with the Patriots to sort of bounce back and get back to their dominating ways. I believe this game was like 24-17 at one point, and then they just pushed the gas and it became 45-17. I mean, Tom Brady, one of his best games of the season, 411 pass yards and 5 passing touchdowns, pretty much flawless in this game. Leonard Fournette on the ground, 12 carries, 67 yards and a touchdown. And then through the air, Antonio Brown, 7 catches, 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 6 catches, 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin, 7 catches for 70 yards, and Leonard Fournette, 4 catches for 43 yards, while Ty Johnson adds 3 catches for 42 yards. Giovanni Bernard's 2 catches go for 14 yards and a receiving touchdown. Nate, I'll just get to you on Tampa Bay. I think this looks like the Tampa Bay we're used to seeing.
Yeah, this is they're looking like the defending champs at the moment. I mean, their offense has been really good. I don't feel like they've lost too much of a step, I guess, this past season for the most part. Their defense, I guess, was a little bit more of a question. I don't feel like they've been playing the same as they did last year, but they basically flipped the switch. So I guess Tampa Bay is going to be one of the teams that in the regular season, they're still going to be really strong, but in the playoffs, they're just going to flip a switch and beat everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it really hurts with some of the injuries they've had in the secondary. Obviously, it's taken guys like Richard Sherman and any of the other new guys some time to sort of get used to the defense. So, yeah, I guess they gave up quite a few points early, and then they sort of shut the door. They were able to figure out what they wanted to do on defense to stop the Dolphins. But just getting to the Dolphins stats now, Jacoby Brissett, 275 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and an interception. On the ground, Myles Gaskin, 5 carries for only 25 yards, not too much here. And then in terms of receiving, that's where Gaskin got in his work. 10 catches, 74 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Big day for him. Preston Williams, 3 catches for 60 yards. We haven't seen too much of him this season. Mike Gesicki, 4 catches for 43 yards, and Jalen Waddle had 2 catches for 31 yards. Mete, getting to you on this Dolphins team. Their defense hasn't looked the same as last year, and I guess their offense really misses Tua.
Yeah, definitely. As the defense, like you said, they're looking like one of the worst defenses in the league right now. So hopefully they can pick it up. And yeah, they should be getting Tua back next week. So that's the good news. And with him, they should definitely play better, as I think there's nowhere to go but up for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, losing some of the linebackers they lost in the summer, of course, both guys heading back to the Patriots. I mean, they just haven't been able to stop the run at all. And then in terms of their pass defense, we know how good Byron Jones and Xavier Howard can be, but they just haven't really been at that level this year. It's just been really tough overall for the Dolphins. So hopefully when Tua gets back, they'll sort of have a chance to bounce back. Getting to the next game, this was a crazy game. I saw parts of this game, especially the overtime. The Green Bay Packers beating the Cincinnati Bengals in overtime, 25-22. A lot of missed kicks in this game, going back and forth. Both Rodgers and Burrow taking their teams down the field to try and win it. Just looking at Aaron Rodgers here, 344 pass yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and an interception. Aaron Jones, 14 carries for 103 rushing yards. A big day for him. A.J. Dillon had 8 carries for 30 yards. Devontae Adams had the biggest day, 11 catches, 206 receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown. A.J. Dillon, 4 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown. Mercedes Lewis, 2 catches for 34 yards, and Randall Cobb had 2 catches for 30 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on the Packers. They're really relieved to have won this game.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, a lot of missed kicks. This was probably the craziest game of the week. And yeah, the Bengals actually not looking too bad this season. Packers, 4-1 is a good start for them. They've really turned it around after the Saints blowout. So they've gone on a 4-game win streak. Let's see if they can keep that up next week.
Yeah, like you said, that first game against the Saints, I believe everyone kind of overreacted. Maybe we did as well. This Packers team looks like they're back in stride. They look like they're going to be a solid team overall. And then getting to the Bengals, Joe Burrow, 281 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Samaje Perine, 11 carries for 59 yards, and Joe Mixon had 10 carries for 33 yards and a touchdown. I believe he was banged up in this game. And then in terms of receiving, this guy's pretty much been their MVP this season. Jamar Chase, 6 catches, 159 yards, and a receiving touchdown. T. Higgins was back. He had 5 catches for 32 yards. Tyler Boyd had 4 catches for 24 yards. And Samaje Perine, 4 catches, 24 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Nate, I guess just getting to on the Bengals. I mean, this team, to keep up with Green Bay, I think they're looking pretty solid.
Yeah, I think they did a good job both offensively and defensively, as I guess they were able to slow down the Packers enough that they could keep a competitive game with them pretty much all 4 quarters. And I guess the only thing is trying not to throw too many interceptions. But the Green Bay Packers do have a really good defense, so there is that as well. And I guess the chemistry between the receivers and Joe Burrow is a lot better this season, which really helps.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The Packers defense, I mean, they were missing some big playmakers, guys like Zadarius Smith and Jair Alexander, but I mean, they looked really solid. They played really well. So this defense as a whole seems to be getting better for the Packers. But yeah, definitely like what the Bengals have going on this year. Getting to the next game, Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Denver Broncos 27-19. Pittsburgh, I guess, really needed this win. Ben Roethlisberger, 253 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Najee Harris, big day, 23 carries, 122 rush yards, and a rushing touchdown. Then through the air, Chase Claypool, 5 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, 2 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. Then Najee Harris had 2 catches for 20 yards. I guess, Nate, I'll get to you on Pittsburgh. Yeah, big win for them. Obviously, Juju Smith-Schuster out for the season, but mostly positives for them in this game.
Yeah, it looks like their offense is back for the most part. I know they had a really rough adjustment period at the start of the season, but it looks like they found their rhythm for the most part. They're not relying on their defense to kind of carry them through games now. I guess they've clicked enough so that they can kind of stay in the game offensively as well.
Yeah, Claypool, I know missing last week really hurt them. He's a big part of their offense, being able to stretch the ball down the field. He had a big game, obviously. So, yeah, I definitely like what the Steelers have going on. In terms of the Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater, 288 pass yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and an interception. In terms of rushing, Javonte Williams, 8 carries for 61 yards. Melvin Gordon, 9 carries for 34 yards. Then in terms of receiving, Cortland Sutton, 7 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. Tim Patrick also had 7 catches for 89 yards. Kendall Hinton had 2 catches for 25 yards and a touchdown. And Javonte Williams added 3 catches for 25 yards, while Noah Fant had 3 catches for 20 yards. Mete, getting to you on the Broncos. I think this team struggled a little bit since starting off the season really well.
Yeah, like you said, they start off the season really well at 3-0, and then now they're on a 2-game losing streak. So yeah, they're hoping to flip it around, and I think what's his name? Jerry Jeudy. I think he's gonna be coming back soon, as they've been without him for probably like 3 weeks, maybe more. So
Since
yeah,
week 1, yeah.
He's their main target. Getting him back will be huge for this team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Their offense just definitely needs to take a step up. Their defense hasn't been too bad, but I guess just overall as a team, they might need to sort of take the next step. Speaking of a team that did take the next step, there was an upset here. Philadelphia Eagles beating the Carolina Panthers 21-18. This Eagles team looked great in this game. Jalen Hurts had 198 pass yards. He did throw an interception, but on the ground was where he got his work in. 9 carries, 30 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. So big day for him. Miles Sanders had 11 carries for 45 yards. And then through the air, Devontae Smith, 7 catches for 77 yards. Quez Watkins, 3 catches for 48 yards. And Dallas Goedert, 2 catches for 28 yards, while Jalen Reagor had 3 catches for 24 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on this Eagles team. Yeah, they looked really solid in this game.
Yeah, they played solid, but I feel like the Panthers should have won this game. They kind of choked it away as they only put up 3 points in the second half. They were up 15-6. So yeah, I think the Eagles, they got to get better at running the ball. Sanders has been struggling this season, and outside of Devontae Smith, they really haven't had a consistent number 2 option, I think, in this offense.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Carolina, they definitely should have played a lot better. I mean, this was Sam Darnold's worst game of the season in my mind. I think 177 yards, 1 passing touchdown, but he did throw 3 interceptions, so not good from him. Chuba Hubbard had his big day, 24 carries for 101 rush yards, so pretty solid there. And then in terms of receiving, DJ Moore, 5 catches for 42 yards. Ian Thomas had 4 catches for 40 yards. Chuba Hubbard had 5 catches for 33 yards. And Robbie Anderson had 2 catches for 30 yards. I guess, Nate, getting to you, this Panthers team, while their defense is pretty solid, I guess their offense is sort of missing an element without McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess missing Christian McCaffrey, that's kind of like the biggest factor. It'd be a lot more difficult to kind of stop them. But even with that, I feel like Chuba Hubbard played really well this game, 101 yards. That's really, I guess, a really good rushing stat. I guess the only unfortunate thing is they weren't able to kind of convert, I guess, the rushing yards into touchdowns. So I guess that's probably going to be the thing to look for next week.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely need to translate some of that into touchdowns. And then just moving on to the next game here, we got the Tennessee Titans beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 37-19. This is sort of bounce back game for the Titans after losing to the Jets last week. Ryan Tannehill had 197 passing yards and a passing touchdown. In terms of rushing, Derrick Henry, 29 carries for 130 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Big game for him once again. Tannehill had 3 rushes for 21 yards. And then through the air, Marcus Johnson, 3 catches for 52 yards. A.J. Brown, 3 catches for 38 yards. And Anthony Firkser had 3 catches for 33 yards. And Michael Pruitt, his 1 catch went for 14 yards and a touchdown. I guess, Nate, I'll just get to you on the Titans. I mean, they looked a lot better in this game. I don't know Julio Jones, but I guess what are your thoughts?
I guess they kind of I went back to their roots a little bit, let Derrick Henry kind of be the focal point of the offense and kind of test the, I guess, run defense of the other team to see if they can slow down or stop Derrick Henry. And I guess Jacksonville couldn't. Not a lot of teams can stop Derrick Henry, so you just kind of abuse that over and over, and that kind of like pretty much gives the entire team, I guess, more exposure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's a cheat code at this point. It's really hard to bring him down. He's also so durable. He rarely gets hurt. Yeah, he's just one of these elements in their offense. It's pretty much unstoppable. Like you said, I guess getting to Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, 273 passing yards. He had a passing touchdown and an interception. He also ran 7 times for 28 yards, and he had a rushing touchdown as well. So good game from Lawrence overall. James Robinson had his biggest game of the season, 18 carries for 149 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. So good game for him. Then through the air, Dan Arnold, 6 catches for 64 yards. Laviska Shenault had 1 catch for 58 yards. Tavon Austin, he had 5 catches for 54 yards. And Jamal Agnew had 6 catches for 41 yards, while Jacob Hollister's 1-yard catch was for a touchdown. Mete, getting to on Jacksonville, this team, they can't win a game yet this season. I guess, what are your thoughts overall on this team?
Yeah, like you said, they can't win a game, but I think that's not the end of the world for them as they have a pretty young team. A rookie quarterback, he's improving, throwing a lot less interceptions. His completion percentage is looking much better. So yeah, like I said, with them losing games, they can get another really high draft pick for next year and keep building to their team. I think James Robinson, he's really picked it up lately. Last couple weeks, he's been playing really well, and yeah, losing DJ Chark hurts them. So hopefully they can pick up a win soon. But if not, I don't think it's the end of the world for them.
Yeah, for sure. Jacksonville, they need to find their way into the win column as soon as possible. I guess if Urban Meyer and the rest of the coaching staff want to still have jobs by the end of the season. Um, I know, Mete, you said that the Green Bay Cincinnati game was the craziest game of the week, but I think Justin Herbert said, hold my beer. And this game was one of the craziest games of the week. The LA Chargers beating the Cleveland Browns 47-42. I believe there was over 40 points scored in the fourth quarter in total. It was an insane game. Just getting to the Chargers stats here, Justin Herbert, 398 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Monster game from him. In terms of rushing, Austin Eckler, 17 carries for 66 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Justin Herbert adding 4 carries for 29 yards and a rushing touchdown. Then in terms of receiving, Mike Williams back on the stat sheet, 8 catches, 165 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Keenan Allen, 6 catches for 75 yards. Austin Eckler, 5 catches for 53 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. While Jalen Guyton had 2 catches for 35 yards, and Donald Parham's 2 catches went for 29 yards and a receiving touchdown. Mete, I'll get to you on the Chargers. This team's looking really strong this year.
Yeah, they're looking great. Herbert, amazing game. Eckler, 3 touchdowns. Great fantasy day for him. And yeah, I'm really impressed with Mike Williams this season, as he's shown flashes before of what he can do, but yeah, he's never played like this before. And I think him playing this well is huge for the team.
Yeah, I think his main issue was not being able to stay healthy, but yeah, he's definitely been able to stay healthy this season. And I guess we can sort of see the kind of receiver he was drafted as he's been really solid. I'm just getting to Cleveland here. They lose a heartbreaker in this game as they were up for parts of it, especially it was back and forth in the fourth quarter. Baker Mayfield, 305 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. He was really solid in this game. Nick Chubb had 21 carries that went for 161 yards and a rushing touchdown. Kareem Hunt's 12 carries went for 61 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So great game on the ground for Cleveland. And then in terms of receiving, David Njoku, 7 catches, 149 yards and a touchdown. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones had 5 catches for 70 yards. Rashard Higgins, 3 catches for 29 yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt had 5 catches for 28 yards, and Odell Beckham only 2 catches for 20 yards. But Nate, I'll get to you on the Browns here. I guess what were your thoughts on this game?
I guess quite a few thoughts. I guess I should probably try to get the elephant out of the room first. There was, I guess, what most Browns fans would consider a missed call. I feel like that did affect the game because it ended up giving the Chargers 31 yards, but can't really dwell on that too much. The Chargers were really legit. There were, I feel like, some mistakes on the defense, even though the defense did play really well. Like leaving Mike Williams like pretty much wide open on some plays, and that kind of allowed Mike Williams to get pretty much free touchdowns. So I guess those are some things that I feel like they might want to look at. There was some I guess some physical play. Some of the players, I guess, on both sides ended up getting banged up, but I think for the most part, I feel like the Browns, they did play really well. The Chargers are a really good team, and it pretty much came down to the last throw of the game, more or less. I feel like if the last throw completed, the Browns pretty much would have won. So even though it was kind of disappointing, there are a few things that the Browns could have worked on maybe both offense and defense. I feel like this still was, I guess, a pretty good performance.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. I don't think Cleveland should be upset with this game. They faced a really good team and they did put up a lot of points. So definitely Cleveland should look for a bounce back next game. All right, getting to the next game. It was the Chicago Bears beating the Las Vegas Raiders by a score of 20-9. Chicago has looked better since starting Justin Fields. He was solid in this game for the most part, 111 passing yards and a passing touchdown. In terms of rushing, Khalil Herbert had 18 carries for 75 yards. Damian Williams had 16 carries for 64 yards and a rushing touchdown. Darnell Mooney, 3 catches for 35 yards. Allen Robinson, 4 catches for 32 yards. Cole Kmet had 2 catches for 22 yards, and Damian Williams had 2 catches for 20 yards, while Jesper Horsted, his 1 catch went for 2 yards and a touchdown. Nate, getting to you on the Chicago Bears. I guess, what do you think overall of this team?
I think even with Justin Fields improving, I still kind of see the Chicago Bears as more of a defensive minded team. They were able to, I guess, kind of stop the passing offense of the Las Vegas Raiders, which I think is really impressive because, again, the Raiders were lighting up pretty much every team until the past couple of weeks. So really good job by the Chicago Bears defense. I guess we still need to see a couple of games from Justin Fields before we kind of see where the offense is at, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like he still has a lot of work to do, but he is on the right track for sure. Getting to the Raiders, Derek Carr, 206 passing yards, and he did throw an interception in this game. In terms of rushing, Josh Jacobs, 15 carries for 48 yards and a rushing touchdown. Then in terms of receiving, Hunter Renfrow, 6 catches for 56 yards. Henry Ruggs, 3 catches for 51 yards. Darren Waller, 4 catches for 45 yards, and not really much else from the rest of the team. Mete, I'll get to you on the Raiders. This is another team after starting out well. They sort of gone downhill. I guess, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was really impressed with the Raiders. They beat the Steelers and Ravens for sure. And then I think the third team was the Colts, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they beat pretty good teams. They've been losing lately, and I hope the fact that John Gruden's stepping down doesn't distract this team, as they haven't been in the playoffs for a while. They're off to a great start. So yeah, I hope with them having a new head coach, they can turn things around.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that third team they beat was the Dolphins, and yeah, it's really good that if the coach needed to step down, he did it. Hopefully, there's not too much noise around that. This team can kind of rebound from that. And yeah, it is going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. Obviously, having an interim coach, we all know that. We know Gruden's system was working pretty well with this team. Obviously, there's going to be a new system implemented, most likely. So yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that turns out for this team. Getting to the next game, the Arizona Cardinals keeping their undefeated streak 5-0 now. They beat the San Francisco 49ers 17-10. Kyler Murray, he's been so solid, 239 passing yards and a passing touchdown. And in terms of rushing, Rondell Moore, 3 carries for 38 yards. James Conner, 10 carries for 29 yards and a rushing touchdown, while Chase Edmonds only had 15 rush yards on 6 carries. But then in terms of receiving, DeAndre Hopkins had his big game of the season, 6 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. Rondell Moore had 5 catches for 59 yards. Christian Kirk, 5 catches for 39 yards. And Chase Edmonds had 3 catches for 19 yards. I guess, Mete, talking to you about the Cardinals, this team's undefeated, and yeah, they've been solid every game.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main difference this season from last season for the Cardinals is the defense. The fact that they can play in these low scoring games and win them is impressive, as yeah, like I said, last season their defense, I would say, was average at best. So yeah, also Rondale Moore, the rookie, he's been really impressive. He's kind of come out of nowhere for me, as I didn't really know about him, but now I definitely do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Rondell Moore, he's been so solid. Whether they have him in the backfield, like I saw there, or I guess just, catching passes. I mean, he's just been so solid. Yeah, he just seems to be one of these guys they can just plug anywhere, and yeah, he's going to produce. So, yeah, good on the Cardinals. I definitely agree with you on the whole defense thing, how they revamped it. I think, yeah, they've been really solid. And then in terms of the 49ers, just looking at some of their stats, looking at Trey Lance, first of all, with his passing yards, he had 192 passing yards, no passing touchdowns, but he did throw an interception. which is really tough for him. This is his first career start. And then in terms of rushing, Eli Mitchell had the big day, 9 carries for 43 yards. Deebo Samuel had 1 carry for 13 yards and a rushing touchdown. And then through the air, Deebo Samuel, 3 catches for 58 yards. Kyle Juszczyk, 3 catches for 35 yards. Brandon Ayuk, 2 catches for 32 yards. And Ross Dwelly had 2 catches for 25 yards. I guess, Nate, getting to on the 49ers, I guess, what are your thoughts on this team?
I feel like the 49ers, they also had a really good defensive game, being able to kind of slow down Kyler Murray. I feel like most of the Arizona games, they've been scoring over 20 points. So to see them score under 20 is kind of a surprise for me. So I feel like the 49ers, they did have a really good defense this week. I guess in terms of offense, I feel like Trey Lance did pretty well. I guess the interception is kind of unfortunate, and I guess maybe the next thing would be to try to get a touchdown next time. But Arizona does have like a top 10 defense. I feel like they're rated 6th in terms of overall defense, so not bad for a rookie at all.
Yeah, for sure. It's just one step at a time. We talked about that with Justin Fields. I think the same thing for Trey Lance as well. Take it one game at a time and just keep getting better. And I think, yeah, he's going to be a solid quarterback in this league for sure. Getting to the next game here, this was a pretty rough game here. Dallas Cowboys beating the New York Giants 44-20. Yeah, this is a pretty big blowout game as a lot of injuries happen on the Giants' end of the field. Dallas, though, was still really solid. Dak Prescott, 302 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns with 1 interception. In terms of rushing, Ezekiel Elliott had 21 carries for 110 yards and a rushing touchdown. Tony Pollard had 14 carries for 75 yards. And then in terms of receiving, CeeDee Lamb, 4 catches, 84 yards and a touchdown. Dalton Schultz, 6 catches for 79 yards. Amari Cooper, 3 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Noah Brown had 3 catches for 36 yards. And Ezekiel Elliott's 2 catches went for 2 yards and a receiving touchdown. Mete, just getting to you on Dallas here. This is probably one of the best games they've had this season.
Yeah, I guess in a way you could say that, but honestly, before the injuries, this was kind of a close game as Barkley goes down first, really unfortunate at the end of the play, and then yeah, he was really starting to pick it up this season. Coming off a pre-existing injury, he looked kind of rusty, like I said, picking it up, and then for him to get hurt again is just super unfortunate. And with Jones as well, he's playing the best football of his career, so for him to get hurt at this time, super unfortunate again for the Giants. I think the Cowboys definitely did what they had to do, but if those two play, this I think could have been a completely different game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I really expected it to be close. I did think Dallas was still going to win, but yeah, definitely it would have been closer for sure. Looking at the Giants stats here, of course, Daniel Jones started this game. He threw for 98 passing yards, but then he did get hurt and he left the game. Mike Glennon came in, really didn't do much. He had 196 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, but also 2 interceptions. In terms of rushing, Saquon Barkley only had 9 yards before he went down. And then Devontae Booker came in. He had 16 carries for 42 yards and a rushing touchdown. So, yeah, he was pretty good in relief. And I think the main highlight from this game was Kadarius Toney. He had 10 catches for 189 yards. Really big breakout game for him. Yeah, really solid. Evan Ingram, 4 catches for 55 yards. Devontae Booker, another touchdown here. This time it's a receiving touchdown on his 3 catches for 16 yards. Nate, getting to you on the Giants. So many injuries for them now, especially on their offense. I guess, what do you think about this team overall?
It's really unfortunate because I feel like they were looking to kind of bounce back from last season. They had a really rough last season as well as Saquon Barkley was injured. I feel like Daniel Jones had a bit of an injury last season as well, and now they're having injuries again. So again, a really unfortunate situation, and it was against the Dallas Cowboys out of all teams in the middle of the game. So there's not really too much you can do there. Mike Lennon did his best to kind of try to carry the team as far as he could, but Um, Dallas put up both an offensive and defensive clinic, so it was really hard for the Giants to keep up.
Yeah, I was gonna say around this time last year was when the whole Dak Prescott injury happened. So sort of reverse fortunes here between these two teams. But getting to the Sunday night game here, this was a crazy game. There was a thunder and lightning delay in between, but Buffalo does pull it out here, 38-20 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Looking at the stats here for this game, Josh Allen, 315 pass yards and 3 touchdowns. And then on the ground, he had 11 carries for 59 yards and a rushing touchdown as well. Zach Moss, 11 carries for 37 yards. Then getting to receiving, Dawson Knox, 3 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 2 catches for 69 yards. Zach Moss, 3 catches for 55 yards. And Emmanuel Sanders, 3 catches, 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. So big day for him. I guess, Nate, getting to on this Buffalo team, they are looking really strong this year after beating the Chiefs.
Yeah, I feel like beating the Chiefs is more or less a litmus test for how far you can go in the playoffs. Although I will say that I feel like the Chiefs kind of took a step back on defense this year, and taking a step back on defense against the Bills is not the best idea. So I guess Josh Allen ended up scoring almost 40 points again, which again is really, really impressive from the Buffalo Bills. So I feel like now the question is if you can, I guess, contain Josh Allen, you might have a chance, but how are you going to contain Josh Allen?
Yeah, he just seems to have gotten better at a lot of different things this year. Obviously, that one issue of him holding onto the ball a little too long when during the pass rush. But I guess other than that, his fumbling issues seem to have gone away. Some of the other issues he had experienced. So, I mean, this Buffalo team keeps getting better. I guess we'll have to see how good they really are as the season goes along. Getting to the Chiefs here, looking at some of the stats, Pat Mahomes, 272 pass yards. He did have 2 passing touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions, so a little rough there. He also had 8 carries that went for 61 yards. Obviously, Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes down in this game. He only had 13 rush yards. Darrell Williams on 5 carries had 27 rush yards. And then through the air, McCole Hardman, 9 catches for 76 yards. Tyreek Hill, 7 catches for 63 yards. Travis Kelce, 6 catches, 57 yards and a touchdown. And also Byron Pringle's 2 catches went for 11 yards and a receiving touchdown. Mete, I'll get to you on the Chiefs. Obviously, their defense is a problem, but I guess even their offense looked like it was a bit of a problem here.
Yeah, definitely losing Clyde Edwards-Helaire won't help you anyway. And yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes, he's almost at 10 interceptions, around like 9 or 8. So yeah, he's definitely a quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over too much. He's been turning it over this season, so that's kind of concerning. But I think the addition of Josh Gordon was huge for them. As as the season goes on, he should get more familiar with the playbook and all that. So yeah, I think he could definitely help them out.
Yeah, for sure. The Chiefs definitely need to turn something around. So hopefully they'll be able to do that in the next couple of weeks. Getting to the Monday night game, it was an overtime game here as well. The Baltimore Ravens beating the Indianapolis Colts 31-25. Looking at the stats here for Baltimore, this one's really surprising. Lamar Jackson, 442 passing yards. I believe it's a career high, and it's a Ravens team high. So really solid from him. He had 4 passing touchdowns to go with that. He also had 14 carries on the ground for 62 rush yards. Not much else on the ground for this team. Then in terms of receiving, Mark Andrews, 11 catches, 147 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns, one of his biggest games in his career. Marquise Brown had 9 catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a career day. And Devin Duvernay, 4 catches for 45 yards, and Sammy Watkins, 2 catches for 35 yards, while Devontae Freeman had 3 catches for 34 yards. Mete, I'll get to you on this Ravens team. Yeah, they look like a different Ravens team this year. Really impressive.
Yeah, definitely impressive, especially if you consider the fact that I think they were down 22-3, something like that. So yeah, amazing comeback. Uh Career high for Lamar in passing yards. And yeah, he's such a gifted runner, but if he can start passing like this, stay in the pocket more, it's definitely going to be harder for defenses to stop him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. If he has that two element thing to his game, whether passing or rushing, it definitely makes him a more difficult threat for sure. Getting to the Colts here, Carson Wentz probably had his best game of the season, 402 pass yards, 2 passing touchdowns, really solid. Jonathan Taylor, 15 carries, went for 53 yards and a rushing touchdown. Marlon Mack had 5 carries for 47 yards. Then in terms of receiving, Jonathan Taylor, big work from him, 3 catches, 116 yards and a receiving touchdown. Michael Pittman, 6 catches for 89 yards and a receiving touchdown. And Paris Campbell had 4 catches for 56 yards, while Mo Alley Cox had 3 catches for 50 yards. Zach Pascal, 3 for 48. Nate, getting to you. This Colts team on offense, they played well. On defense, they sort of gave up a big lead in the second half. I guess, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess on offense, they're starting to kind of pick things up. I feel like Carson Wentz is kind of returning to his old self. But now I guess the question is, how are the Colts gonna kind of adjust to kind of the better teams in the league? I mean, the Ravens in general are a really hard team to stop. Again, Mark Andrews is a really good tight end, and it's an example of when you trust your tight end to catch the ball. It's really hard to stop someone like Mark Andrews. It's really hard to stop someone like Lamar Jackson, but you have to find a way to kind of slow them down if you want to win football games nowadays.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. That's definitely the number one way to do it. Of course, they clearly couldn't do it as Lamar just pretty much went crazy on them in this game. Jonathan Taylor, another amazing threat on the other side. Well, we saw how well he played. So it was definitely a great game from both of these two teams. We'll see if they can keep winning moving forward. And I guess for the Colts, sort of a bounce back moving forward. But let's just move on now to our pickups of the week for fantasy football. Let's start with running backs first. I'll start here. I'll take a look at Darrell Williams for the Kansas City Chiefs. This one's pretty much a no-brainer here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes down. Darrell Williams, although the Chiefs don't rush as much as other teams, they love passing to their running backs. And Darrell Williams, he's always been involved even when Edwards-Helaire was there. He'll just be getting a bigger role. So he's definitely a guy that needs to be added. I believe he was under 20% rostered in most leagues. So definitely take a look at him. Mete, just getting to you. Who's your running back pickup for the week?
Yeah, so for this week, I'd go for Alex Collins. He took over as a starting running back last week with Chris Carson out. And yeah, Carson hasn't practiced today on Wednesday. So there could be another chance of Carson missing a game and Collins having another starting opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely one of those things where you just got to keep an eye on the practice reports. And yeah, if you have Chris Carson, especially, you should be owning Alex Collins as sort of that handcuff. Nate, getting to you, I guess, who's your running back pickup for the week?
I guess there's a couple of guys you can maybe take a look at. Sonny Michel, he's about 50% rostered. And I feel like the Rams should have a good matchup against the Giants. So you should be able to get a decent amount of fantasy points there. And I guess for deeper leagues, you can take a look at Tyson Williams, 21% rostered. Again, he should have a good matchup against the Chargers, as in terms of running, that's kind of the weaker spot of their defense. And I feel like Tyson Williams, he had a pretty decent game last week. So he's, I guess, another running back you can kind of pick up in a deep league.
Yeah, I guess for Tyson Williams, just make sure he's in the lineup because he's sort of been in and out of the lineup. For some reason, they really haven't been committing to anyone running back. So yeah, if he plays, definitely a good guy to look at for sure. I guess other guys you can take a look at are Devontae Booker, obviously because of the Saquon injury. And I guess just maybe Jerick McKinnon, depending on the role he gets with Kansas City. I know Khalil Herbert, he's definitely a bench stash in case he breaks out in that Chicago backfield. And then, yeah, I guess Alex Madison. I mean, if he's unowned and Dalvin Cook's out, he's another guy you can look at for running back. Let's move to wide receivers now. I'm going to get to Kadarius Toney, who's my pickup for the week. I mean, when we were talking about the draft earlier this year, I guess we were talking about like Jalen Waddle, sort of that guy that had like sort of Tyreek Hill level speed. But I guess Kadarius Toney seems to be that guy that we talked about. He has like Tyreek Hill's elusiveness. Like it's so hard to bring this guy down to the ground. He can break so many tackles, fake out so many defenders. With all the injuries we talked about, we already talked about Saquon and Daniel Jones for the Giants, but I mean, Galladay got injured in this game. Slayton's been out. Shepard's been out. Tony's the guy there. He needs to be picked up in pretty much every league. He needs to be rostered. He even needs to be started because it's clear even Glennon was throwing to him as well. So no matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Jones or Glennon, Tony's the guy there. He's got to be picked up. He's my must pick up wide receiver for the week. Mete, I'll move it over to you. Who's your guy at wide receiver?
Yeah, so for this week, I'm going for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And now that Quintez Cephas is out, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's he's gonna get even more looks, and he's been playing much better the last 2 weeks. The fact that the Lions are usually trailing games also favors him as they're forced to throw more. So yeah, he's getting a lot of more targets, and I think it'll continue that way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He looked really solid in this game. And then Nate, getting to you, who's your wide receiver pickup for the week?
I guess there's a few guys you could look at. Maybe Devontae Parker, although he is questionable, so you want to, I guess, check to see if he's playing before you pick him up and start him. But he did have a really good fantasy game last week. I think he got around 15 points, something like that. There's also Rondale Moore, who's had multiple good games. He's about 40% rostered, so he might end up going fast. So you might want to pick him up. And then there's, I think, for deeper leagues, you could take a look at maybe someone like Kendrick Bourne if you're feeling lucky.
Yeah, for sure. Really solid pickups overall at the wide receiver position. I guess other guys you could look at, Tim Patrick, and McCole Hardman had a big game. We'll see how much Josh Gordon factors in. We've been pumping Hunter Renfrow for a few weeks now, and it looks like T.Y. Hilton might be coming back this week, so he should be getting quite a few targets. He's another guy, I guess, that you could look at picking up at wide receiver. Getting to quarterbacks, I have Carson Wentz. Obviously, we talked about how great of a game he had this week. It looks like he's finally getting healthy. His offensive line also getting healthier. He hasn't been getting hit as much, which is really good for his value. When he has time in the pocket, he can pretty much deal like any one of the top quarterbacks in this league. He also has rushing potential. I know he didn't show it in this past game, but if he does go for a few runs, he's going to get you a lot of rushing yards. So that's definitely something you can look at for fantasy. If you have a guy that's not producing, maybe like a Derek Carr or a Justin Fields, and you're looking for someone else, I definitely like Carson Wentz. But I guess, Mete, who's your quarterback pickup for the week?
Yeah, so for quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, he's got a great matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, and the team's obviously missed him as they're on a 4-game losing streak without him. So yeah, if he plays, I think he'll have a great game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He's one of the main keys to this Dolphins offense. So definitely go take a look at him. I guess other guys you can look at, Trevor Lawrence, Jameis Winston, and Baker Mayfield have all had pretty solid games lately. So I guess just depending on their matchup, you definitely want to take a look at them for quarterback. Then for tight end, Nate, I'm going to get to you. Who's your tight end pickup for the week?
I guess for tight ends, I have both Hunter Henry and Dan Arnold. I feel like they've both had some pretty good games in the last few weeks. So I think if you're in a shallow league, you should probably pick up Hunter Henry. But if you're in a deeper league, you can maybe take a look at Dan Arnold.
Yeah, for sure. I think Mete talked about Ricky Seals-Jones. I guess he's another guy you can take a look at. Obviously, you might not be able to start him, but another guy you could look at. David Njoku had a big week. Maybe you want to take a look at him. Mo Alley Cox potentially. Tight end's really hard to sort of navigate this year. Pretty much any guy could find the end zone on any given week and finish as a tight end one. So you pretty much just have to sort of pick your matchups at this point. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be the pickups for this week for fantasy football. Let's just get right into previewing week 6 for the NFL season. Definitely a lot of good games here. We'll start with Thursday night. Mete, I'll get it to you for the fantasy preview. Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, so for this defending champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, want to start Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Leonard Fournette. It looks like he's the main running back in Tampa Bay. So yeah, go for Fournette. Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. Like I said during the recap, the only target that's really reliable right now is Devontae Smith, and Goddard, he's still a decent tight end. And yeah, like you just said, tight end's really hard to tell. And since he's one of the better ones, you just roll him out.
Yeah, for sure. And just getting to this game now, it looks like Tampa Bay is favored by 6.5. I'm seeing 6.5 or 7 here, so it's pretty much around there. Mete, I'll start with you. I guess which way are you leaning for this game?
Sorry, what was the spread?
It's 6.5 for Tampa Bay.
6.5 Tampa. I think they can win this by a touchdown and an extra point or more. They should probably win by 2 possessions in my opinion. So I'd go with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely liking Tampa Bay as well. I feel like the Eagles are a little overvalued based on their win last week. I feel like they could come crashing down in this game, but that's just my opinion. Nate, I'll get to you. I guess where do you sit on this?
I feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are, I guess, more than a step up above the Philadelphia Eagles, even though the Eagles have made some improvements. So I'll go with Tampa Bay on this.
All right, and just getting to the next game, it's Miami against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, Mete, you talked about Tua coming back most likely for this game. I guess Nate, preview this game for us for fantasy.
So I guess for fantasy, assuming Tua returns this week, you would probably want to start him if you have him. You can also take a look at Myles Gaskin, Devontae Parker, maybe even Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki. And then for Jacksonville, you can take a look at James Robinson, Marvin Jones Jr., Laviska Shenault, and I think Trevor Lawrence should have a good matchup this week against Miami, so you can start him as well.
All right, and I guess what's your opinion on Dan Arnold? Is he more like a deep league type guy?
Yeah, I think Dan Arnold should mainly be starting in deep leagues.
All right, and just getting to the spread, the Dolphins are favored by 3 in this matchup. Nate, I'll get to you first. I guess which way are you looking here?
I feel like it could go either way. The thing is, Miami doesn't have the best defense in the league, so I feel like this could be Jacksonville's chance to kind of pull an upset. So I might go with Jacksonville on this.
All right, and Mete, getting back to you, I guess which way are you leaning here? It's Dolphins -3.
That's a good question. I think if Tua plays, they definitely should cover that. If he doesn't, I think I might go Jacksonville, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville is the home team, so I wouldn't fault anyone for siding with the Jaguars. But like you said, if Tua's in there, I feel like this team should be able to get a spark from that. I know we haven't seen it in recent weeks, so I might want to lean Jaguars, but I think I'm still confident enough in the Dolphins. I think I definitely like this team to cover for sure. And then just getting to the next game, it's the Detroit Lions against the Cincinnati Bengals. I guess I'll preview this one for fantasy. In terms of starts for Detroit, DeAndre Swift, he's pretty much a must start at this point. He's getting most of the work in that offense. And the only reason I'm saying you should start TJ Hawkinson, I know he's had a rough last couple games, but I mean, he's still the most talented guy in this offense. And I mean, if you have him at tight end, I mean, tight end landscape's pretty bad right now, so you're probably going to have to start him from where you drafted him. So I have Hawkinson there. I guess for sits or deep league starts, Jared Goff, Jamal Williams, Khalif Raymond, and Amon-Ra St. Brown's interesting because he's like a borderline start. I just want to see more consistent production from him. And then for the Bengals, you're starting Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, assuming he's healthy, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd. And then in terms of sits or deep league starts, Samaje P. Ryan and CJ Uzama. And then looking at the spread for this game, it is 3.5 in favor of the Bengals. Mete, I'll start with you this time. I guess which way are you looking here?
I like the Bengals here. Like I said, I'm impressed with the Bengals. Detroit, they're really struggling. So yeah, go Bengals.
All right, and Nate, moving to you. I guess which side are you on for this game?
The spread isn't too high, and I guess Detroit, they've been keeping games close, but not close enough to pull upsets. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Yeah, I think one thing I noticed with the Bengals is they've won a lot of close games lately. I think this might be the game where they sort of take that next step and they can probably win by more than just a field goal, hopefully. So yeah, I think I am going to bank on the Bengals to sort of get it done here. Obviously, the Lions have been a team that have been keeping it close with other teams as well. So it is a tough game to sort of handicap. But yeah, I definitely I'm going to lean with the Bengals here. And then just getting to the next game, Mete, I'll get to you for Minnesota against Carolina.
All right, so for the Vikings, you could start Kirk Cousins if you're in deeper leagues. Dalvin Cook, obviously, if he plays. If not, Alexander Madison. Whenever he starts in his place, he pretty much does the same thing Cook would do. So great play if he's Cook's not there. Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
All right, and then for Carolina.
And for Carolina, Christian McCaffrey, if he plays, it looks like he could be back. I think he practiced today. If he doesn't play, Chuba Hubbard, he's been playing great in his absence. DJ Moore, it's been their main guy, and Robbie Anderson, I play in deeper leagues.
All right, and just getting to this game, the Vikings are favored by 1.5 points. I guess Mete, which way are you leaning here?
That's a good question. 1.5. This is a tough call. Carolina, they were off to a great start, but they're kind of struggling right now. So I think Vikings should win this game.
All right, Nate, what about you? What do you think on this game?
It's kind of hard to say because Carolina has a really good defense, and that's probably going to put them in position to maybe pull an upset. But you're basically picking the winner at this point, so I feel like I'll just go with the Vikings on this.
Yeah, like you said, you're pretty much going with the winner at this point. Yeah, it's tough for me to pick against the Vikings. I feel like they are a better team than people are giving them credit for. The Panthers, yeah, if they don't have McCaffrey, I feel like they're going to struggle. I feel like if both Cook and McCaffrey play, I am going to lean with the Carolina Panthers here. They are at home and they are a solid team. I feel like they can bounce back here. But I mean, if McCaffrey's out, it honestly depends on the running backs for me. Let's just say if both running backs are in, I'm going to definitely lean with the Panthers getting points here. And then moving to the next game, LA Chargers against Baltimore Ravens. Nate, I'll let you preview this one for fantasy.
So I guess for the Chargers, quite a few players that you can start. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Jared Cook. And for Baltimore, you can start Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown, Sammy Watkins, Mark Andrews. You can maybe even take a look at Latavius Murray and Tyson Williams.
All right. And sort of getting to the spread of this game, it looks like the Ravens are favored by 2.5 points. Nate, which way are you leaning here?
It's kind of hard to tell because I feel like this can go either way. They both have really good quarterbacks. They both have really good run games, and I feel like the Baltimore passing game is really underrated. So it's pretty much a toss-up, but I guess I'll go with the Ravens mainly because of Lamar Jackson's run game.
All right, and Mete, getting to you. Are you with the Chargers here or are you with the Ravens?
I think I'm gonna go with the Chargers. They don't have to win this game. They've been great this season, and Baltimore, they usually have a top 10 defense, and this year they're around average. So I definitely think the Chargers could keep this close.
Yeah, for sure. This game's pretty much a toss up. Probably just side with the Ravens just because they're at home. They're really strong at home from what I've noticed, whether it's during the day or at prime time. Just the home field advantage is a real thing in Baltimore. Lamar has looked unreal at this point, and the Chargers have a really poor run defense. So I feel like Lamar is just going to run all over this team. So yeah, I will lean slightly with the Baltimore Ravens there. And then getting to the next game, Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears. I'll preview that one for fantasy. For Green Bay, you're starting Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae Adams 100%. And then sits or deep league starts would probably be like A.J. Dillon, Randall Cobb, and Robert Tonyan. And then in terms of the Chicago Bears, you're starting Damian Williams, who's taking the place of Montgomery, obviously. Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, they're getting the targets. They're not getting a lot of yards, but if you can sort of follow the target volume, they should be able to break out at some point. So especially if you drafted them early, like Robinson, you're probably going to start him. In terms of sits or deep league starts, Justin Fields, Khalil Herbert's an interesting one. He played really well last game. Then Cole Kmet and Jimmy Graham are pretty much sits for me. And then looking at the spread for this game, looks like the Packers are favored by 4.5. I think I got to lean with the Packers here, to be honest. They've looked really solid. Obviously, they weren't able to make some field goals. If they had made those field goals, they would have beaten the Bengals by quite a bit more points. So I will lean with the Packers here, but I guess, Nate, what are your thoughts?
I feel like the Chicago Bears may not have the offense to kind of keep up with the Packers. I mean, the Bears do have a really good defense, but so do the Green Bay Packers. So it's pretty much going to come down to how Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the Green Bay Packers on the offense are going to play. And you can't really expect them to play bad. So I'm going with Green Bay.
All right, Mete, getting to you. I guess, which side are you on here?
Yeah, I'm with the Packers as well. They're on a 4-game win streak. Chicago's starting a rookie quarterback, so I think they can cover this spread.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. All right, getting to the next game, the Houston Texans against the Indianapolis Colts. Mete, I'll get to you for the fantasy preview.
Yeah, so for Houston, really short list. I think last week you said Brandon Cooks is the only guy you're starting from this team, and yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think in deeper leagues, he is definitely worth a look. He hasn't been too hot the last couple weeks, so it's kind of a riskier player. And for Indianapolis, I'd go Carson Wentz, especially if you have a bad quarterback situation. Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. I feel like outside of those guys, they don't really have reliable targets. If you said T.Y. Hilton might return, if he does, yeah, he can definitely be started as well.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think this Colts team should win, but I guess we'll have to see how much, as the spread is -10 here for the Colts. I guess, Mete, how do you feel about that?
I always don't like betting against double digits, so maybe Texans, as Davis Mills, he finally had a really good game and hopefully he builds on it. I think I would go with the Texans.
And then getting to you, Nate, I guess, how do you feel about this game?
I feel like it could go either way. It kind of depends on how the defense on both ends holds up. But if David Mills plays this week how he played last week, you might actually be able to go with the Texans on this.
Yeah, I'm actually going to lean with the Texans here. I think the Colts got banged up in their secondary last game. I feel like Davis Mills might be able to throw a little bit on this team. I feel like the spread might actually come down, though, as we get closer to the game. But right now, at -10 for the Colts, I can't touch that. I think Houston is sort of the side that I'm leaning on there. But like Mete, you mentioned, I really don't like taking big spreads, especially in NFL games, as they're very unpredictable. And then getting to the next matchup, the LA Rams against the New York Giants. Nate, I'll get to you for that preview.
So for the Rams, quite a few players you can start. Matthew Stafford, Darrell Henderson, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee. And then in deep leagues for the Rams, you could start Van Jefferson. And I guess for the New York Giants. Um, if Daniel Jones is able to be cleared, you could start him maybe, but um, I'm not sure if he would be cleared, so I'd kind of stay away from him for this week. And you could take a look at maybe Devontae Booker, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, John Ross. In deep leagues, you might want to take a look at Darius Slayton, but he's also questionable as well, so you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, most of this Giants team is questionable at this point. Probably, like you mentioned, the two main guys should be Devontae Booker and Kadarius Toney, but I think outside of that, probably should just stay away. I definitely agree. Getting to the spread, it's -9.5 favoring the Rams. Nate, which side are you on here?
I feel like this is one of the few big spreads that maybe you can kind of rely on because the Rams are a really good team on both offense and defense, and the Giants are really banged up right now.
All right, and Mete, getting to you, I guess, which side do you like here?
Yeah, so with Saquon being out, definitely hard for the Giants, but I think if Daniel Jones plays, I don't think he's been rolled out yet. They could cover this, but if those two are out, I'm definitely going with the Rams.
Yeah, I think the Rams definitely had their bounce back game last week against the Seahawks. Obviously, they were banged up. And yeah, this Giants team clearly is banged up. I think the Rams can definitely play better in this game. Anything lower than 10, I think they can cover. So 9.5 looks pretty good to me. So I will side with the Rams here. I'm getting to the next game here. Kansas City against the Washington football team. I'll preview this one for fantasy. For the Chiefs, you're rolling out Patrick Mahomes. Darrell Williams should be the starter at running back, so roll him out. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, obviously, they've been really solid all year. And then I guess deep league guys are guys you probably want to sit: McCole Hardman, Josh Gordon, Byron Pringle, and Demarcus Robinson. And then for the Washington football team, Taylor Heineke, he had a hiccup week, but he has been really solid. His Chiefs defense is pretty atrocious as well. Both defenses actually, but yeah, I'd roll out Heineke if you need a quarterback. Antonio Gibson's been really solid past couple of weeks. Roll him out. And Terry McLaurin, so you got to roll him out. He's been really solid. Then deep league guys are guys you might want to sit: J.D. McKissick, Ricky Seals-Jones, and Curtis Samuel. And then getting to the spread for this game, it looks like the Chiefs are favored here, and it's by 6.5. Mete, this time I'll get to you first. Which side are you leaning here?
Uh, yeah, good question. I think we should probably go with Kansas City, but their defense is kind of hard to trust right now. I don't think Washington's that bad. Maybe Washington can cover this.
All right, and Nate, I guess what do you think about this game? Which side are you on here?
I feel like this might end up kind of being a really back and forth game on offense because both defenses haven't really been able to get stops reliably. So I feel like it could either be like a one score difference game, or it'll kind of be a little bit under, but I guess I'll go with the Chiefs just because they're the Chiefs.
All right, and yeah, just looking at this game for me, um, I'm sort of leaning towards Washington here just because this Chiefs defense, they haven't really been able to get stops. I know the football team has not been able to put a lot of pressure, which might open things up for Mahomes. So there is a risk here. Um, yeah, the Chiefs could cover, obviously, but I think this Washington team, I mean, they're at home, and I think maybe the defense does show up a little bit here in terms of pressure. So yeah, I'm definitely going to side with the Washington football team here. And then just getting to the next game, New England Patriots against the Dallas Cowboys. Mete, I'll get to you for that preview.
All right, so for the Patriots, you could go for Mac Jones, Damian Harris, definitely. Jacoby Myers looks like the top target there. And Hunter Henry in deeper leagues, he's been picking it up lately. For the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Dalton Schultz, the usual. The offense has been great.
I guess, how do you feel about Tony Pollard with the Patriots run defense sort of being a little shaky?
For deeper leagues, you could definitely roll him out as a flex, but if you're in like a 10-man league or uh less, so around like 8 or something, yeah, you definitely have better options.
Yeah, for sure. And then definitely looking at the spread for this game. I guess Mete, I'll get to you on this one first. Um, it looks like the Cowboys are favored by 3 points. Some places say 3.5. I think most places say 3.5, so I'm gonna go with that. I guess which way are you leaning here?
Yeah, I'm still gonna ride with the Cowboys. I think they could win this game by 4. They've been really playing great lately, so yeah, Cowboys.
You know me, I'm going to ride with the Patriots. Obviously, they're at home. They've kept every game close, no matter the skill level of the team. They seem to be playing up and down to their competition, which is kind of concerning to me. But I mean, the way that their defense plays, I mean, last week they got pretty much a shutout in the second half against the Bucks. They were able to shut down most of their playmakers. Yeah, I think they definitely have a chance against this Cowboys team. They might not win, but I definitely think they have a good chance of covering. And I guess Nate, break the tie here. Cowboys 3.5 or Patriots plus 3.5.
Um, I'll go with the Cowboys mainly because of their run game. If they can get the run game going against New England, I feel like they might have a chance to cover.
All right. And just getting to the next game here. The Cleveland Browns against the Arizona Cardinals. I know, Nate, you were talking about this game earlier. Just dive right into it for fantasy.
All right, so I'll start with Cleveland first. Players that you want to start, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Those are probably the two biggest bangs for your buck right there. You might want to start Odell mainly because of his talent. Rashard Higgins. The thing with I guess receivers on this team is that you don't really know exactly who Baker is going to throw to because they mostly does it um, not just on kind of like how the system works, but if the plays break down, he'll kind of go based off of feel. So it's kind of hard to tell. I think if you're feeling lucky, you might want to go with Donovan Peoples-Jones or David Njoku. There might be some red zone looks for them, especially if they play like last week. But the thing is, I feel like getting consistent targets in Cleveland is a little challenging at this point. And I guess you might want to start Baker Mayfield as well. He's been doing really well.
All right. And for the Cardinals?
Oh yeah. For the Cardinals, I guess you could start Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk. For deep leagues, Chase Edmonds, James Conner, and Demetrius Harris.
And I guess, how do you feel about Rondale Moore?
Rondale Moore, you can definitely start him as well.
All right. And getting to this game, I'm actually surprised here. The Cardinals are undefeated, but the Browns are favored by 3 in this game. I guess, Nate, what are your thoughts on that? And I guess, who are you liking here?
Never have I ever explored Kensington Market.
I'm pretty surprised by them being favored by 3. Honestly, I'm kind of nervous about this game because again, the Cardinals are undefeated, so even 3 might be a little too much. I feel like Arizona might still be able to cover this mainly because they've been so good.
All right. And yeah, Mete, which side are you taking here? You like Cleveland at -3, or do you like the Cardinals?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the 5-0 team is given the plus. I know they're away, but they're 5-0, so I'm going with the Cardinals. They don't even have to win to cover. So yeah, that looks great for me.
Yeah, Cardinals have definitely been looking really solid. I don't know. I just keep going back to this Browns team. I went to them last week. Of course, they didn't cover. They're at home this time. I feel like this is their chance to do it. I feel like that Cleveland is sort of a bounce back game for them as well. I don't know the status of Myles Garrett. If he plays, I like Cleveland here for sure at -3. But yeah, if he's out, there's no way I can side with Cleveland. I definitely like the Cardinals for sure. And then moving to the next game here, Denver Broncos against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll preview this one for fantasy. I guess guys you can look at for the Denver Broncos, you can look at Melvin Gordon, you can look at Javonte Williams. Both backs have been getting the split work, and some of them are finding the end zone. A lot of times, both of them find the end zone, so you can definitely look at them. Cortland Sutton, he's sort of an up and down receiver, but if he's getting targeted, he's going to get a lot of deep catches. So definitely take a look at him. Tim Patrick and Noah Fant are also both getting a lot of targets, so look for them as well. Sits or deep league starts. I just have Teddy Bridgewater here. He's one of these quarterbacks that's sort of been up and down. They rely a lot on their run game, so he's not going to be throwing a lot of passes. But yeah, you can definitely look at him in deep leagues. And then for the Raiders, hopefully we get a bounce back game here from Derek Carr, so you can probably roll him out most likely. It might be a little bit of a tougher matchup, but if you don't have any other options, he's definitely okay. Josh Jacobs for sure is probably the number one option on this team. From what we've seen the last few weeks. Hunter Renfrow, very consistent. He gets his 6-7 targets, and he pretty much makes the most out of them. So I like him. Henry Ruggs, it's going to be tough, but if you're in a bind, you can definitely start him. And then Darren Waller, you're rolling him out because he's one of the top tight ends in the game. And then for deep league guys, Kenyon Drake and Brian Edwards. Most leagues you can probably sit them, but only in deep leagues you should start them. And then looking at the spread, Broncos are at home. They're favored by 3.5. I guess, Mete, which way are you looking here?
Good question. I don't know. Broncos are at home, but I guess you could go with the Broncos as, like I said, I feel like with the Gruden situation, I feel like that could be a distraction for them.
Yeah, for sure. Both of these two teams are in the same division. They won their first 3 games. They lost their last 2. I guess, Nate, which side are you leaning here?
I feel like the Broncos might have a chance, mainly because Gruden's not going to be coaching, so we haven't really seen this team without Gruden yet, and this is in the middle of the season, so it's going to be really hard to adjust. So this might be the week for Denver.
Yeah, this Raiders offensive line, they started off the year really solid, but they've slowly deteriorated over the last few games. If Von Miller and company gets through and sacks Derek Carr quite a bit, could be troublesome here. I think 3.5, they should be able to cover. Obviously, it's a divisional game, so it could go either way. But yeah, I'm sort of leaning with the Broncos here. And then moving to the next game, Seattle against Pittsburgh. This is Sunday night. Mete, I'll let you preview this for fantasy.
All right, so Chris Carson, if he's playing, if not, like I said, I go with Alex Collins and then DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. For Pittsburgh, I'd go Najee Harris, Chase Claypool, and Deontay Johnson.
All right, pretty straightforward there. I guess just looking at the spread, the Steelers are favored by 5 points. Some places say 4.5, but we'll go with 5 here. Yeah, I actually like the Seahawks +5. I know Wilson's not here. I know Pittsburgh has looked better over the last couple of games, but I don't know. I'm just kind of leaning with the Seahawks here. I guess, Mete, what are your thoughts?
I think I'm going with the Steelers. They're at home. And Russell Wilson isn't there, so I think they can cover this.
All right, Nate, getting to you, I guess, which way are you leaning? Break the tie.
I mean, Geno Smith did play really well against the Rams, but the Steelers actually have a better pass defense than the Rams do. So Geno has his work cut out for him, so I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers team definitely did bounce back last week. We'll definitely have to see how they play in this game. And then getting to the Monday night game, Buffalo against Tennessee. I'll preview this one. For the Buffalo Bills, you're starting Josh Allen, Zach Moss, Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, and Dawson Knox. And then in terms of sits or deep league starts, it looks like Cole Beasley sort of taking a back seat now in this offense. Probably only start him in deep leagues. Gabriel Davis as well, and also Devin Singletary. And then starts for the Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry, obviously. He's a must start. Julio Jones, he looks like he's going to be back this week. If he is, you start him. A.J. Brown as well. He sort of had a rough week, but he was banged up, so he's definitely going to be a bit healthier, so you can start him as well. Deep league guys are guys that you can sit. Ryan Tannehill, Jeremy McNichols, Chester Rogers, and Anthony Ferkser. They're not getting enough work to sort of be consistent starters. Getting to the spread for this game, the Bills are favored by 5.5. And I think you just got to ride this Bills team until the wheels fall off at this point. I'm going to lean with Buffalo at 5.5. Nate, I guess, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I feel like trying to go against Buffalo is not really a good idea, especially with the spread being this low. I mean, the Bills have been blowing out teams by like 20 points, and then they're saying they're favored by 5.5. That's like almost too easy to pick. So I'm going with the Bills.
I mean, the spread against the Texans was 17 and they won by 40. So, I mean, like this team has just been going crazy. Mete, I assume you're on the same side as us, but I guess what are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you guys as well. Like you guys said, it's really hard to pick against the Bills right now. They're playing amazing. So go with Buffalo.
Yeah, I feel like this line's going to keep climbing. I see 6 on some places. So, yeah, this line will keep climbing as the week goes on. So, if you like the Bills, jump on them right away. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of this Fanatics football episode. We've covered pretty much everything. Week 5 recap, pickups, week 6. Week 6 is going to be great. Obviously, Mete, our teams are going head to head, Cowboys against Patriots. And then you got Cleveland, Nate trying to take down the undefeated Cardinals. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. So honestly, I'm actually amped for this week. Definitely check out the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at FanFan Podcast. We've been posting the picks for the NHL season that just started, as well as we've been posting NFL every week. Definitely check that out. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts for this podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a review, all that good stuff. And yeah, once again, another exciting week of football coming up, and we'll talk to you guys on the next episode.